The night was quiet in the Nevada desert. The stars shined above, and the air was still. Inside a lonely building covered in sand and dust, a group of scientists worked in silence. This place was not known by many. It was a secret listening station built far from cities, where strange sounds from space were watched and studied. Dr. Lucas Barnes sat at his desk, drinking cold coffee. He looked tired but focused. His computer screen showed a long wave of signals. His assistant, Claire Matthews, walked in with a file in her hand. "Lucas, I think you should see this," she said. He took the file and opened it. The numbers looked strange. It was not normal space noise. The signal repeated every few minutes, and it had a pattern. Claire sat beside him as they listened to the sound. It was slow and deep, like a whisper from the stars. "It is not natural," Lucas said. "It feels made." They worked through the night. Hours passed as they cleaned the signal and studied the shape of the wave. Slowly, they began to see more. It was not just a sound, it was a message, a call for help. It had coordinates, pointing to a part of the galaxy no one had ever reached. So the next morning, the signal was sent to top government teams. Within hours, the news reached the highest levels. After long talks and secret meetings, the world leaders agreed to act. The message was real. It came from intelligent life. They could not ignore it. A special team was made. People from all over the world were chosen, but most were from the United States. They needed strong people, smart people, and those who could survive in deep space. Captain Daniel King was picked to lead. Was known for being calm, brave, and able to handle the unknown. His second in command was Nina Carter, fast-thinking officer who had led missions to the Moon and Mars. Lucas and Claire were also asked to join. It found the signal, and they knew it best. The spaceship was named Odyssey 1. It was built for speed and strength. It had labs, weapons, and tools never used before. It would take months to reach the source of the signal. Still, everyone on board was ready. Before launch, Captain Daniel stood in front of the crew. His voice was firm. "We do not know what waits for us," he said. "But we are not going in fear. We go to find the truth. We go as humans, together." The rocket lifted from Earth with a bright flame and smoke. People across the world watched it rise, their hearts full of hope and fear. For the first time, humanity was not just looking at the stars. They were going to answer a call from them. Inside the ship, things were quiet at first. The stars outside moved slowly as the crew worked. They trained, studied maps, and prepared for dangers they could not name. Nina spent time with Lucas and Claire to study more parts of the signal. They began to find words and meanings. The message was sent by a race called the Wari. The Wari said they were in great danger. The crew of Odyssey 1 did not know what waited for them. They only knew one thing. The signal was not by mistake. It was sent with purpose. And now, the people of Earth were the ones who had answered. As the ship moved deeper into space, stars seemed to whisper secrets. The crew stood ready. They had left their home behind. They had left safety and comfort. Now, they were the only hope for someone far away. The journey had started, and nothing would ever be the same again. Odyssey 1 moved through the dark space, far from Earth. The stars outside were cold and silent. Inside the ship, the crew worked day and night. Everyone had a job. Captain Daniel watched everything with calm eyes. He knew space was not a friendly place. Nina sat in the command room, checking the path. "We are on course," she said. "Still many days before we reach the signal." Lucas and Claire were in the lab. They kept studying the message. The more they read, the more they felt something was wrong. The message had more than just a cry for help. It also had fear. Some words were broken, like they had been rushed or damaged. Claire pointed to one part of the signal. "See this line? It says they are not alone." Lucas frowned. "Not alone. Then who else is out there?" The ship passed strange places. One day, the ship flew near a field of rocks that floated like islands. The lights blinked and the power shook. The crew held their breath, but they moved through it safely. Later, they saw the remains of an old ship. It was broken, with parts floating in space. The crew watched in silence. There was no sign of life, only metal and dust. "Who built that ship?" someone asked. "Not human," Nina said, "and not new." Days passed. The ship moved faster. The crew started to feel changes. Some had bad dreams. Others felt like they were being watched. Claire woke up one night and said she heard voices, but there was no one there. Lucas told the captain. The signal has more layers. We missed something. I think it was hidden. Daniel called a meeting. Everyone sat around the table. The screen showed new parts of the message. We found more, Lucas said. This part was buried deep. It speaks of a war. It's a powerful race. The ones who attacked the Viari. Nina read the lines. They are called the Dravari. They destroy, they do not speak. They do not stop. The crew looked at each other. Mission had changed. They were not just helping. They were walking into danger. Why did the Viari call us? One engineer asked. Because we are strong, Daniel said. We live on a hard world. We fight and survive. Maybe they hoped we could help. The ship moved closer to the place in the signal. The stars were different here. Some burned bright. Others were cold and dead. The feeling in the ship changed. The air felt heavy. No one laughed now. They trained harder. Weapons were checked. Suits were tested. Lucas and Claire found maps in the message. The Viari had left them a path. It led to a planet near a dead star. A red light shined from far away. The planet had storms, but it was the only place with signs of life. That is where the signal came from, Claire said. The ship slowed as it came close. The planet below was dark and broken. Clouds moved fast across the sky. Lightning hit the ground again and again. But there were buildings, towers, and signs of something alive. We are here, Daniel said. Get ready. Nina looked out the window. Whatever's down there, we must be careful. This place feels like it has seen pain. The crew put on suits and prepared the shuttle. No one spoke much. They all felt the same fear, but they also felt a duty. The Viari had called for help, and the humans had answered. As the shuttle dropped into the stormy sky, wind and thunder filled the air. The land below was dark, filled with broken machines and dead trees. But in the middle, a light blinked slowly. That is the signal, Claire said. It is still sending. The crew looked at each other. They'd come far, past stars and danger. Now they were close. The truth waited below. They were ready to face it. The shuttle shook as it moved through the thick clouds. Rain hit the windows hard. Wind pushed the shuttle left and right. But Captain Daniel held the controls steady. The crew stayed silent. They all watched the land below, broken and dark. The shuttle landed near a tall metal tower. The light at the top still blinked slowly. Claire checked her scanner. This is the source of the signal, she said. The crew stepped out onto the ground. The wind was loud, and the air smelled like smoke and ash. The land was full of broken machines and old ruins. Once, this place had been a city. Now it was just pieces. Nina led the way to the tower. Inside, the walls were cracked, and wires hung from the ceiling. They followed the signal to a room deep underground. In that room, they found something. There were 5 beings, thin and weak, with large eyes and pale skin. They sat close together, barely moving. Their eyes opened slowly when the humans entered. Lucas stepped forward. Are you the Viari? One of them nodded. Its voice was soft and slow. We sent the call. You came. Claire looked at them with sad eyes. You are hurt. We can help you. The Viari looked around. We were many. Now we are few. The Dravari took everything. Captain Daniel asked, why us? Why call Earth? The Viari sat up. Our world was peaceful. We had no weapons. When the Dravari came, we could not fight. We sent the signal far, hoping a strong race would hear it, you answered. You come from a hard world. Fire, ice, storms, war. You are Deathworlders. The humans looked at each other. They had never been called that before. Deathworlders. It meant they were from a place where life is hard. A place where only the strong survive, Nina asked. Are there more survivors? Some, said the Viari, hidden in the caves, afraid, hungry. The Dravari still search for them? Lucas said. We must help them. Show us where. The Viari gave them a map. It showed paths through the ruins and into the mountains. The crew prepared quickly. They packed food, water, and medical kits. They also brought weapons, just in case. As they moved through the ruins, they saw what the Dravari had done. Buildings burned, machines torn apart. Skeletons of ships and strange animals lay across the ground. They wanted to erase everything, Claire said. They reached the caves by night. It was cold and dark. Inside, they found more Wari, weak, hungry, but alive. The children hid behind the older ones. When they saw the humans, they stepped back. Daniel knelt and opened his pack, gave food and water. Slowly, the Wari came closer. One child touched Nina's hand. "You came from the stars?" the child asked. "Yes," Nina said, "and we are here to help." The crew set up lights and gave out supplies. Claire treated the sick. Lucas helped fix a broken radio. The Wari watched and listened. "Why do you help us?" one elder asked. "Because it is right," Daniel said. "Because someone must." The elder nodded. "We're not like the Wari. They come with fire, come with light." That night, the crew sat around a small fire with the Wari. Stories were shared. The Wari spoke of the stars and old times. The humans told of Earth, of rivers and forests and skies full of birds. "Your world sounds wild," said one Wari, "so full of danger." "It is," Lucas said. "But we learn to live with it. We grow strong." The Wari looked at them with new eyes, not as strangers, but as protectors. In the morning, a sound filled the air. A low hum, then a sharp cry. The Wari were coming. Nina stood and loaded her weapon. "We have to move fast. Can't fight them here." Daniel pointed toward the shuttle. "Take them with us. All of them. We won't leave anyone behind." The Wari looked afraid, but they trusted the humans. Together, they ran through the ruins toward the ship. The ground shook behind them. The sky turned red. The war was not over, but now the Wari were not alone. The Deathworlders were ready to fight. The ground shook with each step of the Wari. Their ships moved fast through the clouds. Sky burned red as fire spread over the ruins. The humans and the Wari ran together, holding children and carrying the weak. They had to reach the shuttle before the enemy arrived. Captain Daniel led the way. His voice was calm, but his heart beat fast. Nina stayed at the back, making sure no one was left behind. Lucas and Claire helped the elders, holding their arms and guiding them through the broken streets. Behind them, the Wari came closer. Their shapes were tall and dark. Their weapons glowed blue. They did not speak. They only marched forward, ready to destroy. Daniel looked back. "We will not make it in time." Nina pulled out a small device. "I can slow them down. Just keep going." "No," Daniel said. "We stay together. We fight together." He turned to the crew. "Form a line. Defend the path. We give the Wari a chance." The humans took cover behind broken walls and metal parts. They aimed their weapons at the path. The Wari watched with wide eyes. They'd never seen anyone stand against the Wari. The first enemy ship landed. Dust and fire filled the air. The Wari marched out. They moved like machines. There's no fear, no stop. "Hold your fire," Daniel said. The enemy came closer. Then he shouted. Now, the humans fired. The air lit up with light and sound. The Wari were strong, but the humans were smart. They used the land, the ruins, the shadows. They moved fast and hit hard. Nina threw a blast device, sending to Wari flying. Claire hit a tall one with a clean shot. Lucas used smoke to block the path. The Wari hid, but they watched every move. The battle was short, but it showed something new. The Wari were not ready for humans. The Deathworlders fought with fire and courage. When the enemy pulled back, Daniel shouted, "Now move, run to the shuttle." The crew helped the Wari run. Smoke filled the streets. Sky flashed with light, but they kept going. They reached the shuttle. The door opened, and everyone rushed inside. Daniel was the last to enter. He turned once more to look at the ruins. "We will come back," he said. The shuttle rose fast, flying through the smoke. Enemy fire chased them, but Nina flew low and fast. The shuttle reached Odyssey 1, and the crew pulled the Wari inside. Inside the ship, doctors helped the wounded. Food and water were given. The Wari sat quietly, still in shock. Lucas spoke to them. "You are safe now. We will protect you." One young Wari looked at him. "You are like the storm, strong and wild. But you saved us." Daniel met with his team. This is not over. The Dravari know we are here. They will come again. We must hit first. Nina nodded. We can find their base. If we stop it, we stop their control, Claire said. And we can send a message to Earth. Let them know the truth. Let them prepare. Lucas worked with the Vieri to learn more. They gave him maps and codes. With the data, the crew found a nearby outpost used by the Dravari. It was not large, but it was important. Daniel planned the attack. We go in fast. Small team. We strike and leave. We show them that humans do not run. At night, the shuttle flew again. This time it was not for rescue. It was for war. The team landed near the outpost. They moved like shadows, quiet and ready. They placed charges on fuel lines. They hacked into control rooms. When the alarm sounded, it was too late. The outpost exploded with light. Fire filled the sky. The humans returned to Odyssey 1 with no loss. The Viari cheered. They had never seen the Dravari hurt before. You fight like no other, one elder said. Daniel answered, because we come from a world where danger is normal. We are Deathworlders. The ship moved to a safe zone. The crew rested. But they knew it was not the end. The Dravari had seen their strength, and they would not forget. But now, the humans had allies. The Viari were not weak anymore. They had hope. They had fire. They had friends who would stand beside them. The stars watched in silence. A new war had begun. The stars outside Odyssey 1 were calm. The ship floated in quiet space, far from the broken world below. Outside, the crew worked in silence. They were tired, but proud. The Viari moved through the halls slowly. Some smiled for the first time in a long while. Captain Daniel stood in the command room. He looked at the map of the galaxy. His eyes stopped at the dark zone where the Dravari ruled. He knew this was just the start. Nina walked in. The message is ready. Daniel nodded. Send it. The world needs to know. Claire pressed a button. Signal was sent back to Earth. It carried proof of alien life, of the war, of what humans had done. It showed that humanity had reached far across the stars. And it showed that they had not turned away from danger. Lucas helped the Viari children learn human words. They laughed as he taught them how to say friend and strong. One elder Viari came to Daniel. You have changed our future. No, Daniel said. You did. You chose to send that signal. We only answered. The elder smiled. Still, we would have died without you. Now we live. Later, the crew met in the main hall. Daniel stood before them. We came here not knowing what we would find, he said. We found pain. We found war. But we also found something else. I found life worth saving. We showed that humans can stand with honor. The crew clapped. Some smiled, others wiped their eyes. They had been through fire. They had seen things no one on Earth had ever seen. Nina stepped forward. We must return home. But we will not forget this place, Claire added. And we must come back. Others out there need help. The ship turned toward Earth. Engines lit up. The journey back began. As they moved through space, they saw stars they had passed before. But now those stars felt different. They had meaning, or part of a story. On Earth, the message reached people. Screens showed the faces of the Viar. They showed ships, battles, ruins, and the crew of Odyssey 1. The world watched with wide eyes. Some were afraid. Some were proud. But all knew one thing now. They were not alone in the universe. Governments called for talks. New plans were made. Space stations grew. Ships were built. People looked at the sky not with fear, but with wonder. The Viari stayed on Odyssey 1 for now. They helped with repairs. They learned quickly. They wanted to return to their world one day, not as victims, but as builders. Daniel met with Lucas in the lab. We did not defeat the Dravari, he said. Not yet. No, Lucas agreed. But we gave them something new. It's a reason to worry, Claire added. And we gave the galaxy a message. That humans will not be silent. As Earth came into view, the crew stood by the windows. The blue and green of the planet shined in the dark. Home, Nina whispered. The ship landed. Crowds waited. Cameras flashed. But Daniel did not speak to the press. Walked quietly with the others. This was not a story for fame. It was a story of duty. In the days that followed, Earth changed. People worked together more. Science moved faster. Young minds dreamed of stars and other worlds. The Viari were given a safe place to live. They shared their stories. They told of the humans who came in ships and brought hope. But far away, in the dark parts of the galaxy, the Draviray watched. They remembered the fire and pain they had never lost before. Now they had. In their cold world, a leader spoke one word. Earth, a new war would come. But this time, the galaxy would not face it alone. Because the Deathworlders had crossed the stars, and they were ready.